We're going to be interviewing a great professional in the foster care community that works with family support services, and her name is Tiffany Ball. Thanks, Tiffany, for coming.
Thanks for having me, Tammy.
Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We do foster to family also to find out how maybe someone watching from Jacksonville or from this area, Northeast Florida, but if you are and you're willing to become a foster parent, first and foremost, we recommend family support services. They're the best support that you can find, bar none, in our area. And we want to recommend FSS, and we want to recommend what Tiffany is going to tell you in a minute and how you can become a licensed foster parent in Northeast Florida.
That would be my pleasure.
She's here to share with you how you can be a foster parent. What does it look like for foster families? What does it look like for foster children? And maybe the near future, hopefully and prayerfully, getting back to somewhat of a normalcy?
Yeah, right now, I mean, COVID is kind of our new normal. Obviously, the health and safety of our kids and our caregivers is our utmost concern. So, and also our staff. So the state of Florida has been very gracious. There's been a lot of different executive orders from Tallahassee that affect child welfare, and obviously we're adhering to them. But we obviously have a screening, just like you do at if you're going into a medical office. We ask a lot of different questions when kids are first coming into care, and therefore share that information with the foster parents. We also are doing the same thing at our office. So when you come and meet with us, we're doing the same thing. We're doing temperature readings. We're asking if you've traveled outside the United States. We're, going over a different questionnaire to make sure that our staff and anybody visiting our agency are all safe. And then, of course, any of our staff that are going into the field to see our kids, to see our caregivers, and even our staff that are working in the office are using all of the protective equipment. We're using our face masks or face shields, gloves, because we want to make sure that we're limiting exposure to our kids and our caregivers.
Are you open full-time now at FSS?
People are still working remotely, but FSS itself is open. So we have someone there to do fingerprinting pretty much between 9 and 1.
Wait, why do you need fingerprinting, Tiffany?
See? So any of our foster parents are thoroughly background screened. So we do fingerprinting, which includes local law. We also do abuse hotline checks. We do the fingerprinting obviously generates a state law check, so our FDLEs, and also our FBI, which is a national clearance. So we want to make sure if these kids are being removed from situations that we're placing them in safe situations.
I totally understand. And then if a child is in your home, biological, adoptive, family member who lives in your home, and you're being a licensed or wanting to be a licensed foster home, how old do they have to be before they are local checked?
Okay, that's a great question. So no matter who they are, once they hit the age of 13, we do a juvenile check through the Department of Juvenile Justice. We do that on 13 to 17-year-olds. Once you hit 18, that is the magic number for fingerprints. So at that point, legally, you're an adult, so therefore you have to be fingerprinted.
And that's just everyone inside the home, correct?
Correct.
So let's say that I want my mom to come over to my house and watch my kids while I'm gone to the grocery store. What does that look like versus overnight?
Absolutely. So if you have your mom, who obviously, knowing you, she's
her.
A frequent visitor in the McGuire
blessing.
home.
She's like the angel.
So because she is a frequent visitor and she's going to be around your kids and she's part of your support system, we highly recommend obviously that she get background checked as well, because that way, the agency that the kids are assigned to know that she is clear. That way she can transport them. She can pick them up from school if you're here at the foster closet or you get busy. If you need them to go to a medical appointment, she can help you out with that. So we always encourage our foster parents and our caregivers to network. We want you to have a social community. It takes a village to raise a child. So, the more people that you have in your corner that can help you out, the easier the journey. And it's the more people that this child is surrounded of, and that are poured into.
And we know that they're safe. There's no hesitation. So overnight, let's say that I want to go out of town and I can just leave them with my babysitter at her house.
So there's been a lot of changes in that actually over the years, a lot. There is now a memo on what's called normalcy. So, and they refer to this as prudent parenting. So when you want to leave and you want to leave your child with someone, the very first conversation that needs to be had is with the family service counselor for that child. You need to discuss with them how long you're going to be gone and where exactly you're going and who you're leaving the child with. Depending on how long you're going to be gone does depend on what needs to happen. The best practice is to whoever you're leaving the child with that they're background screened. But if you're leaving for just one overnight and the family service counselor approves it and it's like an emergency situation, they may not have to be background screened. But it is definitely best practice to make sure it is done.
Does it have to be a licensed home for the child to stay in overnight? Let's say a weekend.
No. That is actually one of the changes that has taken place, as long as it is less than 72 hours. Even if it's not a licensed caregiver or a licensed home, the child can go there as long as you have permission from that family service counselor.
Amazing. Do you know how many times John and I couldn't go anywhere because that back in the day you had to be background screened, or you had to have them come and stay at your home, or they had to have a home study done for their home, and they had to go through all the rigmarole of what I had to go through just so John and I could get a break. So kudos to our system in the state of Florida for kind of lifting that a little bit. We are prayerful that you're making good decisions though when you are letting these kids go to those families' houses. Lastly, what if you want to go out of the city, or what if you want to go out of the state, and let's say you want to go out of the country with a kid? Can you? They're yours. They're foster kids. Come on, they're living in my house.
It is possible. So once again, the very first conversation is with that family service counselor. Because those kids are removed from their current home, the family service counselor is technically their legal guardian. Even though they might be living with you 24/7, that family service counselor needs to be involved in all of these decisions. So when going out of city, say you want to take the kids to Disney because it's reopened now with new safety procedures, you know?
True.
So if you want to take the kids to Orlando, or you want to take them to a family member, you know, down in Tallahassee or down in Miami, you just need to have that conversation with the family service counselor. If they approve and if there's no problem, then you can go ahead and do that. When you're going out of state, and especially if you're going out of country, you need to give as much notice as possible, because a lot of the times with crossing state lines or leaving the country, it's going to involve more than just the family service counselor's permission. They may need to talk to the family, the biological family, and there may need to be a court order that has to be granted.
But they let kids go out of the country now?
We have had it. We've had foster parents that take the kids on cruises, and trust me, I've seen the pictures. They have a grand time.
So amazing. We always make progress in the state of Florida. I wish that it was a federal mandate, only because our state's the best state out there who watch over the children, but more importantly, change laws, change regulation for the good and the betterment of the children. Sometimes the kids don't have a voice in the court system. Sometimes they don't have it in legislation. However, in the state of Florida, we're making changes and we're making strides. Yes, we have a long ways to go, and there's always room for improvement. We really want to make a difference and give back to our community and make sure that our families take care of themselves. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for coming.
I appreciate it, and thank you for having me. I enjoy talking about foster care and becoming a foster parent every opportunity I can get.
We're going to have updates as we go along to kind of inform you about how you can give back to the foster care community, how you can be a foster parent through Family Support Services. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. But we'll have the link down below for Family Support Services. And remember that hotline that we were talking about and how you can become a foster parent. Don't forget those teens. I'm Tammy McGuire. This is Foster to Family, and see you next time.